Hey, what's up, everybody? What's going on? Welcome, welcome, welcome. Welcome to the Bearded Man Chronicle Show. This is episode 5, Toxic Masculinity versus Toxic Femininity. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe if you're on YouTube. Most importantly, make sure you hit the bell at the top so that you guys get notified when I drop new content. So you guys know I don't do this show alone. I want to introduce you to my panel. Before I introduce you to the panel, I want to apologize for the delay. Of course, when you're doing a live show, you have technical difficulties, and unfortunately, we ran into a technical difficulty. But guess what? We got it squared away. So, without further ado, let me introduce to you guys my distinguished panel. Here, let me see who we have here. All right, so this is Shay. This is the beautiful Shay. What's up, baby? How you
Hi,
doing?
everyone. How are you guys?
Good, good. You looking good?
Oh, well, thank you, thank you, thank you.
Next, I'm gonna bring in Geo. Geo is the man with the plan. What's going on, Gio? How you feeling?
What's up? Hey
Look
everybody, how
at
you doing?
you.
What's
Good to
going on,
see all of
everybody?
you again.
Right, right.
Right. Good to see you too.
So I know it's three of us guys. Unfortunately, Sheena couldn't be with us today. She's actually on tour, and she'll be back next week. Nah, she's vacationing. So she'll be back next week. So this week you got three of us. I want to say hello to all of the viewers. What's going on? Happy Wednesday to everybody. So, what's new with you guys? What's something new?
Gio, what's new? Tell us.
This week has just been really busy for me, honestly. We're in the new year and it's like just trying to get everything aligned for the rest of the year. Just work has been busy and just stuff outside of work has just been busy. So I just feel like I need a break. Like I need to be with
It's
Sheena on
already the
vacation.
12th and you need
Like
a break.
I do. I do. I
A
don't know what's up.
break?
I know. But Shay, what's
Unbelievable.
going on? That background looks new. Where you at? What's going on with you?
It has been a very trying weekend for me, might I say. I did move. My partner finally moved down, to my state with me. So it's pretty exciting. I got some other personal issues going on that kind of dampened this weekend, but I'm going to stay strong and positive. But the move it was challenging. The
Moving
bearded man
sucks.
chronicle came through, showed up and showed out. He was carrying chairs and beds and everything, and then his back was hurting, and he had to
Oh.
get carried into his house.
listen, listen, y'all. Moving ain't for me. I'm 38, and I feel these 38-year-old bones. I'm telling you. When I say I ain't never felt like somebody just jumped on me and stumped me out,
But he
man,
was
the whole body,
carrying. I'm talking about big. I have very big furniture
and I was carrying it by myself.
by itself.
I
I
was.
was like this.
She's like,
I was
we ain't
just
even
looking.
taking that, but okay.
Yeah, I'm like, you want my? Oh, okay. Well, but yeah, my weekend was good. Just keep my family in your prayers, and all the viewers, please keep my family in your prayers. We most definitely need those prayers now.
Amen.
Okay,
Amen.
bearded man, what you been up to?
Wow. Nothing really. Just busy at work. I did try those Taco Bell wings, bruh. I'm telling you, y'all better go. If y'all watching after
Mm-mm.
this show, y'all better leave, go to the drive-thru and go get y'all some. Those
No way.
wings, those wings was good. I don't know what type of sauce that was, but it was good. I'm telling you, and that's no cap. What the young people say, no cap. I'm telling you,
Right.
no cap. Those wings were good, and I was just so surprised that, I'm like, okay, Taco Bell have wings, and
Yeah.
yeah, so that's about it.
I heard
Was
McDonald's has spaghetti now.
oh my
Is
god.
that true?
Yeah, was that a real
And
picture?
Subway. Subway has wings too.
No, you made that up.
No, I'm so serious. I wish I could add the link in here.
I
I
don't
saw
know.
a
Wow.
picture to now, unless it was a joke and they were being funny because Taco Bell has wings and maybe it was just like a Photoshop or something. Monty said the wings are good. From where? Taco Bell or from Subway? Or is Subway a hoax?
That's what I'm thinking. Is it a hoax? It got to be a hoax. I can't
That just
see.
yeah, that seems off brand, for wings at Subway.
I don't know.
I mean, I know
But
they do pizzas, which was a stretch, but
Oh, their
Really?
pieces are good.
I've never had one.
Yeah, I do. I've done their pieces before. My son did them years ago when he was a baby, but yeah, they were a good snack. How about that?
All
Hello,
right.
Carlton.
Hey,
Thanks
Welcome,
for
Carlton.
everybody.
joining.
So, listen, this is going to be a very interesting topic. As you guys know, we discuss a plethora of things over here. There's no topic off the table. And today, as mentioned, we're going to talk about toxic masculinity and toxic femininity. Um, I think it's important to understand and to know what exactly it is. So before we actually go into the content, Gio, can you start us off what toxic masculinity refers to?
Come on now,
Okay.
tell us, preacher.
All right, amen. I'll give you the Bible here, right here. Uh, so, seriously. Toxic masculinity stresses that it's inappropriate for men to talk about their feelings. Avoiding conversations about problems or emotions may increase feelings of isolation and loneliness. Toxic masculinity also discourages men from getting mental health treatment,
Mm,
which obviously brings on depression, anxiety, substance abuse, mental health problems. All those things are viewed as weaknesses. So,
wow. And so I'm going to take toxic femininity. So that refers to gender expectations that women should be subservient, quiet and submissive to men's domination and aggression. And as you guys know, women are not being subservient nowadays. Women are taking over. Hell, we have a female vice president. And me personally, I know more successful women than I do men. And we'll just start with the toxic femininity part. I think to box women, this is not yesteryear where the woman stayed at home and the woman had certain things that she was supposed to do. Right? She was supposed to stay at home, wash the clothes, cook, clean, do all of these things, serve her husband, her man, but uh and that's basically it. She was just thrown into like this gender role. But here in 2022, as you guys know, that's have changed. So do you guys have any examples, or do you guys know any situations that maybe you thought, hey, women was boxed in, or you experienced personally? Geo?
I feel like I've seen both sides of it, honestly. I mean, like you said, I know plenty of successful women as well. And I know women who are also, they like being that subservient role and, want to be the homemaker. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I think as long as you're respected and it's not something that's forced upon you, I mean, whatever makes you happy is fine by me. But I think when it comes as an expectation is when it becomes problematic. And I think women should have the right to be whoever they want to be. Maybe you want to be a mom for a while, but then you want to get back to the hustle game and be about your money. And then that should be fine. It shouldn't be like this is you. You started to be a mom, now you need to stay a mom. So yeah, Shay, what about you?
Um, toxic femininity to me, because it starts off as toxic, not just femininity. It indicates that there's something not good about this situation. To me, toxic femininity equals down to or boils down to the inability to speak and have a voice. I feel that it also encourages women to feel like I have to kind of take this step back to make this masculine man that lacks masculinity feel masculine. So therefore, that's how it in turns becomes toxic, because you are not being your authentic self to almost appease someone else and make them feel superior when they really aren't deserving of that.
Mm, I didn't look at
That's
it like
good.
that.
Yeah.
I didn't. So do you think that both toxic masculinity and toxic femininity have something to do with self-esteem?
It has a lot to do with self-esteem on both angles. Eh, Most times, like with women, when it's not very many out here, but it is very many out here
Hmm.
where you have women who lives for the damsel in distress, lives for, woe is me, lives for the, can you open my jar of pickles because it's so tight? Then you have those women like me that I'm changing my tire. I don't need you to build my house out. You give me the tools. I just hung my television up. I don't need that masculinity. You know what I'm saying? So you have it kind of like where you have women like me where we had to do these things. We couldn't wait for that man because we didn't have him in our lives. And I'm not speaking of my father, I'm speaking of a partner. um I had my dad in my life, but then you have those women that's like, they gotta have the need for being a damsel in distress. They live for the damsel in distress just because they just want to be the damsel in distress, to me.
I agree. Let's go to the comments. Monty said the wings are good. They are really good, man. Hey, what's up, Carlton? What's going on, man? Welcome to the stream. Monty said, no, people are trying to be comical about Subway. Okay. He also said, I think it boils down to small minded people who believe in outdated gender norms.
Yeah.
Yeah, I most definitely have to agree with that. I actually grew up in a household with my grandparents after my mom passed away. My grandmother raised me, my grandmother, and once I got like 13, 14, I moved with my sister. But I actually, it wasn't toxic masculinity or toxic femininity, but it was my grandfather worked, he brought in the money. My grandmother was a homemaker. She stayed in, she did all domestic things. I've never seen my grandfather do anything domestic. I can remember him always. He had dinner at the table every day, and he didn't even have to take his plate to the trash.
Hmm.
He ate his food. He got up and he went to his room. I think he probably said, of course, thank you. Probably kissed my grandmother and left. Like went up to his room. He didn't lift a plate. He didn't take it to the garbage. And times are really different now. Times have really evolved. Nowadays, a household is you need two incomes. Back in the day, things were less expensive, and you can run a household off one income, and you still can, just depending on your income. But times have evolved,
Mhm.
most definitely. As it relates to toxic masculinity, um, yeah, that's totally different. Toxic masculinity, as a man, we taught not to do anything that is deemed feminine, such as not being able to show emotion. And I think that's what's wrong with a lot of people today, a lot of men today. And I feel really bad for a lot of women, particularly because as a kid, these men are taught that you can't display emotion, and so as an adult, they emotionally detached, and so it makes it hard for them to understand what the woman really want when they wasn't raised like that. Have you guys have any experiences with that, Shay?
Well, I haven't dated a guy in years, almost 19. So I can't quite remember, but I believe that my, I could say my brothers, suppress their emotions not to feel vulnerable, and let that vulnerability in. But in a relationship, I can't quite remember my experiences of being with a guy where he was emotionally detached.
Wow. Geo.
Yeah, same for me. I mean, I didn't grow up with a male figure in the home, but or any siblings for the matter. But I did see like friends. I would always try to. I'm a very emotional person at times, and I always feed off of emotion because it lets you know about character and who that person is. And so when I male friends, especially like in high school, I would see things happen to them, and I would see how they would like suppress the emotion of the event or whatever happened, and I would always like try to pick that scab just to, because I know it's there, but they just weren't able to express it. So I always found that to be a little odd, because I was so different. But yeah, it's a very real thing. Especially older men, making using words like punk or sissy or things like that when you feel emotion. I'm actually grateful that my mom raised me, because she helped me be the way that I am and who I'm happy to be, and not suppress my emotions in that way. And I think it just helps me understand people better, to have emotions in that way.
But you know what else I noticed too? You will find a lot of women that will beat their boyfriends or husbands up for being emotional. That is the weirdest thing ever. If he's crying or, emotional about anything, like his feelings get hurt too. So I don't understand why, it'll be the name calling or you're a punk or gay or this and that turns men off from being able to be vulnerable and open and saying, "Hey, you hurt my feelings, and it hurt my feelings enough for me to cry." But I think it just kind of sucks with that. It, again, goes back to toxic. That first word.
All right, let's go here to the comments. Monty said many like to cherry pick and choose. Many women may not like outdated female roles. However, they still want a man to have masculine roles or duties such as
Hmm.
pay for a date, open doors, kill bugs, etc. It really depends on the person, and in a relationship, it's all about communication. Hey, what's going on, young wolf? Welcome to the stream. Carlton said, "My grandmother raised me well. My grandmother raised her five children all by herself. My grandmother wanted a house for her family, but my grandfather didn't. So my grandmother worked, saved her money, bought a home for her five children. His grandfather did work and didn't want the things his grandmother wanted for the family. She
Hmm.
divorced. She divorced. My father moved on. Grandmother took upon herself to get what was needed for the family, and she didn't need her grandfather for anything. Go ahead, Grandma." Monty,
Exactly.
Monty
I
said, "I think
agree.
if you feel comfortable with your partner and show them that you can be open and expose themselves to you without judgment, people will open up. Many assume they will be ridiculed." Monty said, "You have to have empathy." Hey, what's up, Michelle? Welcome. Michelle said, "Hey, y'all, the word toxic itself is a red flag,
Hmm.
especially when you used in a relationship."
Exactly.
Um, yeah, and the sad part, I've seen it time after time. And let me give you guys some to break it down a little more, for you guys what toxic masculine is. Say, for instance, you have a son. Say he's like 5, 6 or 7 years old, 5, 6, 7. Hey, what's up, sis? What's going on, Tanisha? Just say if he falls off a bike, right? The child falls off a bike. The child is crying. You then turn to your son and say, "Hey, quit crying. You're not a girl. You're not a punk. You're not a faggot." So you already setting your kid up uh, to grow up emotionally detached.
Yep.
I'm not a parent yet, but what I do know that certain things should and should not be said to a child. If a kid fall off a bike, make sure he's okay, and it's okay to cry because he might hurt himself. So to tell a child you ain't a girl, quit crying, you ain't a punk, that's abuse. But this is what we has been immune to through generation, and this is how we saw some of our cousins and nieces and nephews and stuff like that raised. um Earlier this year there was some controversial um things on the internet. This young lady bought a stove set for her 5 and 6 year old boy. There
Hmm.
was so much controversy around that. So many people disagreed with her. um Beyonce mother actually came to her defense and said nothing is wrong with you buying your male child a stove set. To me, I just feel like, hey, one day he needs to know how to cook, right? So I don't see any harm with buying a stove set. I
I
put.
have a I have a 18-year-old, and McCullen personally.
Mhm.
I bought him a stove set, a pot set. and a doll when he was younger. Because if he's a dad, he's gonna have a baby. I didn't buy him a doll for him to play dress up with. He's not gay. That wasn't gonna make him gay. I was never worried about him being gay. He had a cooking set. Now it wasn't a doll where he was walking around with it, but he had items that were hypothetically girl items. He knows how to cook now at 18. You know, if you left him with a baby, he would know how to change a diaper. But I also bought him a tool set. I also bought him things that boys had as well. I don't necessarily think that we should automatically, but that's what we're taught. That if they're a boy, they can't have these things, but they still have to cook. They still have to be dads.
Exactly.
You know,
Exactly.
it's crazy.
Gio.
Yeah, and I said to that, we have male chefs. I mean, what if he grows up to become a chef? We have
Exactly.
a lot of successful chefs, and I don't know statistics on it, but I'm sure most chefs are men. I don't know, but I just don't think you should deprive a child from the opportunity to explore, right?
Yes.
I mean, there's no guarantee that he's going to, want to do makeup and dolls and all this kind of stuff just because he's playing with a cooking set. We all
Right.
eat, like, so we all got to cook at some point. So yeah, I wouldn't suppress my child from wanting to explore those things. Give him a chance.
I agree. Let's go to the comments. It says, Carlton said, God allowed us to have these emotions as human beings. No one has the right to take those emotions away from us, male or female. What's up, Sean? Welcome to the stream.
Hey, Sean.
Elijah. What's up,
Hey,
Elijah?
Elijah.
Monty said, it's the words people use. If a child fall off a bike, instead of saying, stop acting like a boy, it's better to say, let's be a big boy. Exactly. It's just your choice of words. Carlton said, as a kid and teenager, my mother used to call me fag, sissy, and gay because I was very sensitive. She used to do these things in front of her boyfriend and his children. My mother kicked me out the house for her boyfriend didn't want, oh, and said didn't want two bitches in the kitchen. Ooh.
Oh, wow.
Wow, Carlton, man, I'm sorry to hear that. What's up, the Sassy Show? She said, interesting conversation. I respectfully disagree. Okay, we respect that, Sassy. Monty said, it's hilarious about the kids' cooking set. If it were a toy barbecue grill, no one would have said anything. I agree. I agree. I just feel like, you know,
That's so true.
I, I believe kids are innocent,
They are so innocent. They are
and
so innocent.
yeah, and I think it's not I think the adults put more emphasis on it than the kids. The kids don't know any better. So the kids only gonna put they only gonna put what's been distilled in them and what's been told to them.
Exactly.
Um I don't see I just personally feel like, you know, every boy is not going to be your star football player, your basketball player, your hockey player. He might be a bookworm or he might be a nerd. He might just be into video games. That doesn't make him less than a man. Your daughter may not be on the cheer team or the pom pom team or into makeup, but that doesn't mean she's going to be less woman or be gay when she get older. If my daughter come to me and say, Dad, I want a tool set for Christmas, do I say, no, that's a boy toy. You shouldn't be playing with that. No, she might grow up to be a hell of a plumber, or if she says she want a train set. Do I say
She could
you
flip
shouldn't
houses.
play? Yeah. Do I say you shouldn't play with trains? You should only
Exactly.
play with dolls, or um, I don't know. I just
It's
think,
just like what you said, it's the mindset. It's the
yeah,
mindset of the individual. And everyone is not going to think that a boy should have a doll. Everybody one is not going to think that a girl should have a tool set. And that's your personal preference. But that doesn't make that individual, whether it's a boy or a girl, it doesn't make the boy gay because he's playing with the doll. And it doesn't make the girl gay because she's playing with a train set. I think it goes back to our old mindsets, our old habits, and we can't, in somewhat way, we can't get away from it. When your mom said, you have to do what I said do because I said it, that's the old school way.
Right.
Well, with my son, I didn't raise him that way. I raised him that I need you to do this. Why? Because such and such and such, to explain it, because I want him to be able to articulate what he needs, what he wants, and be confident about it, and not feel because you said that boys can't play with dolls, then that means automatically if you see one, he's gay, or vice versa. And I don't think we educate our kids enough at an early age of diversity. No one needs you to agree or approve on any lifestyle. That you need to understand it and respect it and leave it at that. So I think it's just this whirlwind of people just want to put caps on whatever they want to put caps on, and they really don't want to look at the whole picture in color. They're still looking at it in black and white, and it's so not in black and white anymore.
Exactly.
And all the kids really need is your love and support. You know,
That's it.
that's all they really need. And for me personally, I would want to, like, if my daughter told me she wanted a tool set, I'd be like, okay, girl, what you gonna do with that? I want to know what you want to do with it. And I would never want to suppress what they have an interest in, because that would tell me about the child. I don't want it to get to a point where now they keep secrets from me. Now they're afraid to tell me things because I might judge them for it. I want you to freely express yourself so I can really learn who you are. We have so many, kids who grow up and keep things a secret because mommy or daddy wouldn't approve if I talked about I wanted a doll or whatever. Like, if you want a doll, let me know you want a doll. I'd rather you let me know what's going on than be doing it, sneaking it, Like, I don't know. I just think I can guide you better if I know where you want to go. So,
Yeah.
Exactly.
And I
Let's go.
think men, I think really quick, I think men as adults shy away from emotions because, again, it's almost like this adult bullying where it's like, was he just crying because he got an award at work? But if a woman cries when she gets an award at work, what happens? Everybody's like, oh, but a
support her.
guy can't do it, because he has to play tough and he can't be emotional that he's the first black man in a company of 300 white men get a certificate or get a trophy. He can't cry and say, hey, I'm overjoyed about it. So it's
Right.
that bullying, it's that side conversation that he worries about, that, okay, they're going to say I'm soft, or they're going to say I'm gay, or they're going to say, oh, you must have been raised in a family with all women. How many times have you heard that when a
Right.
guy is emotional? You must have been raised with all women, when in all actuality, he could have been raised with a dad and a mom.
Right. Let's go to the comments. Sean said, so true. Tanisha Chambers said, I'm with the cooking thing as a kitchen set, but not a doll. Maybe a Chucky doll. Elijah said, that's so sad. That's so sad to be treated so wrong as a kid, period. Tanisha said, respectfully. Monty said, at Tanisha, so action figures are not dolls. You guys getting it in these comments.
Right? They're
Tanisha
going
said,
in.
but I love this though. We listen. We can have respectful conversations and also agree to disagree. Um, Tanisha said, yes, action figure, but not a baby doll. Michelle said, because once the kid get out here in the world and show emotion, first thing people say, where their parents or his father or mother left very young. Toxic is all around us. I agree with you 110% on that, Michelle. Elijah said, y'all speaking on so much truthfulness, and I'm loving this. We appreciate it,
Thank you,
man.
Elijah.
We love you, Elijah.
We're glad that you're here. Monty said, but an action figure is a doll. You rather your child have a demonic Chucky doll that won't stop your child from being gay? Trust gay people like
Scarlet.
Scarlet stuff, sports, all of that. We know what you meant, Monty Chucky. The Sassy Show said it's not about gay for me. It's about teaching clear gender roles. If they want to alter or alternate those assigned roles later in life, that's okay. But gender is a real thing,
So stop there.
and it's
Okay, so when she says that it's not about gay, it's about teaching gender roles. What's a gender role?
that's a good question. What is a
What is
gender
a gender
role?
role? Is a gender role that a boy can't play with a doll and a girl has to play with it only? So is that teaching gender roles, or is that stereotyping? I don't really know. I'm trying
Let's
to
see.
figure that one out.
She said heterosexual relationships are continuing to suffer in society.
How? I know
Uh,
plenty of great
Tanisha said,
relationships.
pipe down. I just used that as an example. Hell, I wouldn't want a Chucky doll, okay? Say Ken doll. Man, y'all guys are silly. Carlton said, I get stronger as I got older because of my grandmother. She accepted me not just as her grandchild, but as a human being. My grandmother is my best friend. Now I love my mother, rest in heaven. She just had a man in her head and ear, and I don't blame her. But growing up, I had to do many things to be the man I was expected to be. Forced to play basketball, run track, cross country, date girls, etc. Did all of that and still wasn't accepted because of my sensitivity, love, and care that I had.
Really
Wow.
quick, guys, this is in no way should we be arguing if you guys are. This is a open forum. We want feedback. We encourage positive feedback. What we don't encourage is back and forth, where we're arguing or name calling or any of that. So let's keep it clean in the box. Let's make sure we respect everyone's opinion because it's exactly that. It's an opinion. An opinion. That is it. Nothing more. All right.
Michelle said, teaching starts in the home, no matter where the home is. It's what the child takes from their upbringing, and I 100% agree with that. So let's go back to the gender roles. So I can remember I've been in a lot of different roles in healthcare, and right now I'm in IT as a software analyst, and I can remember this young lady that I work with from a different ethnicity. Um, she didn't deem me as a man because I wasn't a construction worker or I wasn't a roofer or I wasn't a plumber. And before I before I said the wrong thing, I educated her. I said, explain to me. So I said, you based a man off what they off a roofer, off a plumber. I said, you do know that they have CEOs as men. Not everybody are plumbers and roofers, and I guess all of the hyper masculinity roles that people think that men should have. And when I broke it down to her, she was speechless. I said, and it's really sad because people have these mindsets. They condition their minds to think that men should be this way, women should be this way, and that's the prime example why we have a lot of violence. I did a research recently before the show, and statistics shows that most murderers or people who conduct violence is because they were taught as children not to be emotionally attached. So
Mm-hmm.
people don't know this it doesn't just this starts at birth to adulthood. That's why it's important to, and even though parent doesn't come with a handbook, but we got to be real careful because children are sponges. And with that being said, a sponge soak things in. So
Yep.
children soak things in. So we have to be careful what we do around our child and what we say. Am I saying that I will let my male child uh walk around in heels as a no, 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 no. I would never do that. I wouldn't throw nothing on him. However, if he see one of his cousins dolls on a couch and he happened to pick it up, I don't know if I would yank it from him. He's a kid, so he don't know nothing negative behind it unless I distill in something like that. If my daughter have a doll and she drop her doll and she go playing video games and playing with a train track, am I gonna say, well, you shouldn't be doing that? Or if I see her outside with a
Exactly.
dress on, climbing a tree and jumping over a fence, I'm gonna say, well, I'm gonna explain to her like, okay, for one, you have a dress and certain things ladies should, a woman should act a certain way. She have a dress on. I just think that kids don't know any better. It's the parents that distill certain things in the child. And so, yeah.
Well, it
So
goes just like with racism. A child is innocent. They don't know a color. If you put, and it was statistics where they put white and black kids in a room together and no one was looking, not willing to play with the other individual. I think it goes back to, as we said, when you have the alleged gender roles where you're allegedly setting these things aside, I think it goes with your home. There's nothing wrong with having gender roles in your home. I don't think a gender roles exist in society. But if you feel that if you have a girl and a boy and you want to set gender roles in your home, I feel like you should feel free to set those gender roles. I just know that I have a 18-year-old that's in full time in college, that was a high school graduate, that is not gay, that played with dolls, that played with a cooking set, that played with all types of things, and he's very, very well off. So I don't think that you should suppress anything because reality of it all is whether you said gender roles, prisons, whatever, your kids are going to grow up and do whatever it is they choose to do. And it has nothing to do with when they was a baby, I let him play with a train track. And when she was a girl, a baby, I let her play with a doll. It's really truly about what they decide to do as they go through that thing called life.
life.
It's really just that.
Yep. Yep.
Let's go to the comments. Tanisha said, "Back up, Monty."
That's why I said, whoa. When I say whoa, that's not what we trying to do.
Elijah said, "I love you guys too. Much respect, man." Um, Monty said, "Gender roles. Gender just mean penis and vagina. There is no such thing as a gender role." The Sassy Show said, "If my son was gay, I would want him to know he is a black male. Gay in that order is a part of this equation. Period. He is a black male. Yeah, in that order. Period. Okay. Let's see. Elijah said, when ignorance is a bliss, people never get it. Judgment is so unfair, especially in the black community of being gay black in America. Positive vibes only. Um, Sassy Show said, oh, goodness. Okay. Thanks for having me. Miss Rhonda, the Merlot drinking queen. Welcome to the show. Hello, everyone. Are you going to drop a link? The link should be. What type of link, Rhonda? The link is at the top. Michelle said, as adults and parents, public figures, we need to share with one another the history of gender roles. And once they get into a position to choose how or what to be in life. That's a good point, Michelle. Um, you see, Tanisha says, after they grow up, no matter what is taught at home, society is still looked upon.
That's
I
true.
agree.
We make society. The people in the world make society. So when the people mind starts to change, society will be affected because the people minds are set in a different way. We make up society.
hmm
So we have to, inadvertently, we have to change the way we think so that society can change the way it is. I mean, think about it. 20 years ago, you couldn't walk around being openly gay. Why? Because society had to adapt. They had to change their way of thinking and saying, hey, okay, maybe 50% believe is wrong. Maybe 50% believe is right. However, we're going to have to come to it cohesively together and work together. And the only way we was able to do that is that the minds of the people changed so that the society could change. And have we gotten far? Some will say yes, some will say no. But the fact is, we had to change for society. Black and white. How many white? I'm in a all predominantly white male industry. It is unknown for me to be a manager in this field, but I am. Why and how? Society, they had to change the mindset of the CEOs and the companies and the organizations. They had to change. You have a lot of Black African American men and women in leadership. 50 years ago, guess what? It wasn't like that. Why? Because society didn't want to accept it, but the minds of the people had to change in order for us to have society move forward and accept these changes.
Right. Well, we still have. I mean, we still have a long ways to go,
Definitely.
and unfortunately, as it relates to both toxic masculinity and toxic femininity, it really just start with trying to not really change the minds of people because everybody have their opinion, but it's best to see both sides, right? That's like, okay, you used to take in 75 to work every day for 15 years. Somebody say, well, if you take 94, you will cut 15 minutes. You're like, well, no, because I've been taking 75 and stuff like that. Well, you won't know until you try. And I'm saying that to say you have to look at things from both perspectives. Um, Toxic masculinity and toxic femininity plays a major part in mental health.
Mm-hmm.
This is why a lot of people have mental health issues. That's another thing that's swept under the rug.
Yeah.
People don't want to talk about that. People they see certain things in their loved ones. The first thing they want to say is, "Hey, we just pray about it." That's true. Prayer changes things. However, God put people in our lives, such as clinicians and stuff, to help people. And I just feel like we have to be compassionate um, to both our fellas and our ladies. If you have a husband or boyfriend or brother, son, nephew, whatever, and you see he's hurting, you know, comfort him, console him. Don't say you a man. What are you crying for? Man up. Don't say that. Talk to him. See what he's crying for. You don't want him to bottle up all of this anger, and then it turns to violence, and now he becomes a statistic because he didn't took somebody's child out. Talk to people. If you see little girls out there climbing, making tree houses and stuff, don't tell her, "Oh, you can't do that." She might become one of the best architects in the world.
Mm-hmm.
I just think that there's certain things, and I get, people have this idea. Everybody want the best for their child. Everybody want their child to, finish school and be wealthy and marry and stuff. I understand. However, this is a different day and age, and we can raise our kid to be the best person we want them to be. But at the end of the day, our kids have choices, and sometimes our choices is not choices that we necessarily want from them. But we have to understand, we have to respect them, love them, or whatever. I do want to get back to the doll situation because I noticed that they actually talked about the doll. When you say you let your son have a doll, do you mean like a action figure, or you mean like a baby doll?
No, it was a baby doll. He wanted a baby doll. It was in the store. He doesn't know.
Right, right,
He's
yeah,
so
no,
innocent. So he see it, and of course, I'm like, should I buy this doll? And I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna do it. And I bought it. And he didn't play with it long. I played around with it. My mom wasn't happy with it. My sister wasn't happy with it. But I really didn't raise my son like that. I raised him to be his most bold and authentic self. And I wasn't afraid whether he chose to be gay or whether he chose to be straight, whether he wanted to be a dad or whether he wanted to be a cook. It didn't matter to me. I just wanted him to be happy. And I think that that's what most parents should aim for. Um, I'm not sure most parents in our culture aims for that because it's not even that most parents don't want to do it.
hmm
They don't want the talk behind it.
yeah,
Don't want the
the
I
scrutiny.
gotta
Hmm.
explain why I bought my son a doll. So instead, I'm just gonna not get it at all.
Right,
I don't want to have to, and it's not really the girl because you could buy the girl a train set, a toy
yeah,
set, a tool set. You can buy her a race car. You can get her a race car jacket, hat, gloves, scarf.
Hmm.
No one will probably say too much about that. But inversely, if you buy the boy a pot set, a microwave, an apron, and a spatula, all hell broke loose. Why you buy him that? He couldn't find no tool set in the store. That's what you get, you know? So I bought him whatever he want. He didn't play with it long. As I said, you was in McCullen's life from the time he was born pretty much until now.
Hmm.
And believe me when I tell you, I think he get more cootie cat. Unfortunately, I hate to say this, and I miss mama. More than our underwear Victoria's Secret does, okay? He is a
He learned to
ladies'
understand
man.
the feminine side. That's why.
He gonna be so embarrassed when he see this. He gonna be like, "Mom, why you say that?"
Right.
But he's a handsome guy, and he is definitely into girls.
And
So I
college
was
educated.
very, and I was never worried about him being, any type of way, but who he was supposed to be. And,
Right.
and I encourage all parents, like one thing you said, and I found this out later on in my parenting, that parents don't get a handbook, and you don't have to be ashamed about decisions that you make. You be confident and firm in what you believe, how you raise your kids, because it's gonna show as they get older. It's gonna show everything that you put in them, some way or another. It's gonna come out. So I let him do what he did, and he's a successful young man, and I
Yeah.
have no regrets.
Yeah. I,
Beautiful.
I can remember also too. My good friend. He passed away this year, but his daughter. I'm his daughter's godfather, and I remember one year I bought her a baby doll, and I bought her some more things. But he said, just so you know, I don't allow my daughter to play with baby dolls. And I said, okay. And I said, why? He said he didn't want her to think that she just have to grow up to take care of babies.
Amen.
And so
Yeah.
when I
Speak on it.
first heard of that, I'm like, this is some crazy shit. I'm like, but then when I resonated, I said, wow, that's kind of powerful. He said she can play with dolls, but she couldn't play with baby dolls because he didn't want her to think that
Mm-hmm.
you have to be a mother and you have to raise up to take care of kids.
Yeah.
And it made sense. And he was like on board with that. And so was my goddaughter's mom. They both was like, oh no, she's not playing with baby dolls. I don't want her to have the mentality that, oh, she that she have to have children or she's gonna she I guess his thing was her being a teen mom because she's nurturing something. He didn't want her to feel like she have to nurture something. So his thing was he was always afraid that she would be a teen mom. What you think about that? Do you think that was? Do you agree with that, or kind of disagree
I
with what he
personally
did?
agree with it. I think
I
it's
1000%.
pretty, progressive, and just thinking like, that's assigning a role, like, get familiar with this because you're going to be doing this, and
Mm-hmm.
that's not always the case. You know, I think a girl can explore all those different possibilities. So I'm kudos to them for, seeing beyond that. So I'm curious to see what she's up to
I
now.
couldn't cook when when I was like 17, 18, 19. I was so against cooking. And the number one reason why I was against cooking is because I seen my mom cook for my dad all the time. And I said I would never cook for a man ever. I don't want to learn how to do it because I felt like it was a burden. Like it was just like she was a slave, and all you saw was breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Breakfast, lunch, and it was like clockwork. And
Right.
I was
Mhm.
like, I don't want to learn how to cook. So don't buy me no pot tech. Don't buy me. I don't want no parts of it. And I was probably 26 when I first started learning how to cook. And it was the perception. If I had ever had a daughter, she would have probably never got baby dolls, the ones where they come with the bottle and you turn the bottle up and it's empty, and then you turn the bottle back down, and then it comes with the diapers, it comes with the book bag, it comes with the diaper bag, it comes with the stroller. What are you teaching her? You're teaching her about motherhood as a baby. We're raising our girls to know about motherhood, but then you have a problem with a boy learning how to cook. Totally confused.
I mean this topic this topic is it goes deep. I mean when you think about certain things, it's just the condition of the mind. It amazes me how some people are just conditioned in their mind and there's no, they don't see nothing else but what they believe and only the way that they were taught. Let's go to the comments. Let's see. Tanisha said, after they grow up, no matter what is taught at home, society is still looked upon. Michelle says, I think it's more people accept what they want to accept, which I call being cordial. Monty said, I remember in first grade, I wanted a trapper keeper. My mom wanted me to get one with the gremlins or a car, but I wanted one with unicorns that looked more feminine. It was gray and colorful. Man, you should have got the gremlin ones. I'm just playing with you. I'm just playing, man. Unicorns were in stories I would read and not real. That's what's up, man. Um, Tanisha said, agreed. What you pour at home, they will pour into the world, male or female. Well said. Elijah said, I think in the black community, to be gay or play with dolls, or the father who was in the home judge their son who played with dolls, is sad how the father was raised, is how he will raise or his beliefs is crazy, but it's reality. If I had a kid or son, I would let him be him to explore. Michelle said some people just see black or white, which is true. Some people.
Also too, when he said that, the father raised him and then he raises his son, again, it goes back to society. You know what? It comes to a point where those generational curses are broken.
Amen.
I'm not going to say mine was a curse because it wasn't a curse. My mom was just raised to teach us, do as I say in the story.
Right.
My son was raised to ask why. I allowed him to ask me why. Why? Because again, I wanted him to be able to articulate successfully how he felt. And I wanted him to do it in a manner where he did not have to be disrespectful. He did not have to argue.
Hmm.
He did not have to debate. He just had to be firm about how he felt and what he believed. So I recall one time I told him he couldn't go to this party. And he said, well, why not? So just imagine 20 years ago, me asking mom, why not? What do you think would have happened? I probably wouldn't have had my teeth in my mouth. But I was able to tell him, you know what? I just don't feel comfortable with you going. You're riding with these guys. It's late at night. You know what he told me? He said, well, mom, what if you take me? If you drop me off and pick me up, then it cancels out the problem of you being nervous about me riding with these guys. So I did. I took him. He had fun. I went back. I picked him up and all was well. We was able to have dialogue, even driving home and from the party and to the party, all because I allowed him and I broke that generational curse that my mom had from her mother and her mother had from her mother that you cannot ask me why. Because if I say you can't do it, in the damn story, shut up, go to your room and have a nice day. There will come a time where these generational curses will be broken of these gender roles and you can't do this and you can't do that. It just takes for that human, that person to change their mind so they can have an impact on society.
Wow, that's deep. So you allow him to, in most cases, you get slapped for or get killed for saying why. You
Yes.
allowed him to, and you know what? I never looked at it like that. That's very interesting because oftentimes we tell a kid not to do anything, and that's that. I think it's important to explain to the child why you
Most
said what you
definitely.
said, so that
Yes.
they can get an understanding. That's deep. I didn't look
Even
at it like
with
that.
like his cleaning his room, I would tell him like, McCullen, clean your room up. But he said, Mom, why I gotta clean it up? I said, well, you know what? You want the weekends where we can hang out, right? So if we're spending 3 hours on Saturday cleaning up your room, that cuts into our fun time. So therefore, he was more adamant about making sure his room was clean through the week because ultimately he knew that if we had to clean up on Saturday, we wasn't going to be getting out of the house until 1, 2 o'clock. That's cutting into our fun time. And as you know, KJ, you have had conversations with McCullen.
Hmm.
He's not your typical 18-year-old.
Yeah.
He can have dialogue with us right now. And
Hmm.
that's because I taught him from a very early age. You don't have to argue with people. He wouldn't be on this thread in the comments saying, oh, you can kiss my, oh, well, you can do it. He would say, hey, you know what? That's your opinion. I still stand firm on what I believe. And
Mm-hmm.
we can agree to disagree and we're going to move on about it. And
Right.
that's how I wanted him to be. So I think it goes back what you put in your child ultimately comes out as they get older, whether that may be good or bad or indifferent. You have to pour that into them. You have to pour the ability to be who you are and stand firm in whatever it is you have. And people will respect your firmness before they respect your wavering and your inconsistencies.
Amen. That's deep.
Well said. Yeah.
Let's go to the comments. This is Monty said I had a gremlin backpack with a unicorn trapper keeper in it. You was
Hey.
adamant. You got that trapper keeper, huh? Elijah said right, and he said amen. Um, so is at the end of the show. Um, is there any nuggets that you guys want to? We always try to leave you guys with something before we close the show out. Let's see. Michelle said when you have both parents in the home, dad might be able to talk it out, and mom is toxic. Mom is toxic. Do as I say and not what I do. Exactly. I never looked at it like that. So when I become a father, to give me a better understanding, don't just tell my kid, uh, you got to come in by the street lights. I need to explain why I want you to come in um, before the street lights come on, or explain why I don't want you to ride in the street. I want you to ride on the sidewalk. It's not that I'm just telling you to ride on the sidewalk because the sidewalk is nicely paved, but you could potentially get hit by a car. I mean, I just think that's important. I didn't look at it like
Yes.
that. I
It's
think it's a
dialogue because it teaches them to say when they're at work, if someone says, I want you to do this, and they can say, no, I don't want to do that. Well, why don't you want to do that? Because I
right,
don't feel comfortable doing that.
right,
And not just go ahead and do it. And then they're looking like, I don't really want to do this, but I've been told my whole life to do it because I said it. So I'm going to just do it because somebody told me. I've taught him do the right thing because it's the right thing to do, not because of the repercussions. Don't
exactly.
go and steal because I don't want to go to jail. You don't steal because it's not yours. It wasn't yours. Don't not speed because you're going to get a ticket. Don't speed because you could kill someone, you could hurt someone. It's the right thing to do. You teach them not about the repercussions, but the reasoning behind it and allow the rest of it to fall in place. So I
Wow.
think it just goes different, I guess. Like I said, masculinity and femininity, it's a good thing until that T word is in front of it.
Toxic.
And then that's what makes the entire concept toxic.
Amen. Wow, that was deep. Jill, what can you lead the people with?
I'm gonna leave y'all with this. I think the takeaway for me of all this is, look, listen, love, and lead. Like, it's as simple as that. If you keep the communication open and not judge people when they show you something that you're not used to, there's an opportunity for growth there for both people. So just keep an open mind and an open heart.
Well said. Well said. Well, this concludes the end of our show, good people. We greatly appreciate everybody's comments. Um, this makes an interactive stream, which we love. We appreciate everybody's dialogue. This is a safe place over here. Like I mentioned earlier, we talk about things that most people wouldn't talk about. Um, Before I leave, I need for you guys to like, share, and subscribe. Please, guys, Facebook, YouTube, please tell somebody about this show. I'm a new YouTuber. I'm still growing the platform. More importantly, please don't forget to hit the notification bell on YouTube, and that way you get a notification when we go live. Anybody want to drop something? Anything coming up? Business? You want to drop something? Nobody? Drop anything? Hers and hers? Okay.
Hersherhair.com. Again, it's hersherhair.com.
All right. All right. Again, guys, thank you. We love you. Till
I'll put it in
next.
the comments too.
She's gonna drop her hairline in the comments. Guys, we love you. Be safe, and we'll see you next week if it's the Lord's will. Peace.
Peace.